The Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie is just around the corner, and we have gotten many trailers and a lot of images, all giving us sneak peeks as to what we can expect from this movie. However, today, I'm going to be doing a deep dive, analysis, breakdown, whatever you want to call it, to show you what you missed and to tell you what you need to know for this movie. Alright, so first one we're going to take a look at is the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 official teaser trailer that was released 7 months ago.
Are you ready to start the show?
Are you ready to start the show? Now, this sounds exactly like Matthew Lillard, who did play William Afton in the first movie and will be playing William Afton in this movie as well. He's also known as Purple Guy or Springtrap, depending on which version you really want to dig into. Now, what we have here, looking at this, is there is a lot to take in. This actually is Faz Fest. Now, if you don't know what Faz Fest is, you'll see it in the movie, but we actually had some of the YouTubers from the Five Nights at Freddy's community go out to the set. That's right, they went out to the set. I believe it was Dawko and a bunch of other fantastic people. They went out to the set and they saw that there was a bunch of Faz Fest posters, what you'll be seeing on screen right now, and it was advertising what we can assume is what we're seeing in the background here. Now here we have a sticky note that says, "Gone to fix my friends." Now if you remember from the FNAF 1 movie, this is in the same writing as Abby. And it's very interesting that she would say that, because when they last left off, her friends, meaning the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 animatronics, Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, Foxy, they weren't necessarily broken at the end of the movie. So it's weird that she is feeling the need to go fix them. We also have Wayne Knight here playing a unknown character at the moment. Looks like to be some type of professor or principal of the school here. We do know that this is in school because of the later shots. If you don't know who he is, he actually played Dennis Nedry in the first Jurassic Park movie. And next we have a fantastic shot of Mangle breaking through a window of a house. This seems like the same shot where you have Mike, Abby, and Vanessa here looking scared at something in the house or possibly breaking through a window, such as Mangle. It's also important to note here that Abby is visibly scared of these animatronics. If you remember from the first movie, she wasn't. She thought that those animatronics were her friends and she viewed them as friends because they honestly didn't want to hurt her. It wasn't until later on in the movie, of course, that things took a change, but you can see immediately that Abby is terrified. So right here we have a great shot of, I believe, Toy Freddy opening a garage door. Now I know a lot of people have been pointing out that this car right here actually looks very similar to the make and model that abducted Garrett from the FNAF 1 movie. Next, it comes into this amazing shot of Toy Bonnie holding a knife sharpener. So this isn't a knife or a screwdriver, it's actually a knife sharpener, which we'll see in later trailers, a better picture of it. But again, why is Toy Bonnie, you can kind of see with red eyes here, feeling obligated to attack someone? It's very weird. Next, we have this amazing shot that looks like a dream sequence of William Afton standing at the far end of a hallway. It looks to be in kind of a kitchen area. And we know that it is most likely a dream sequence because all of these doors opened at the exact same time, which is kind of weird. And this is very menacing. Like, this is fantastic. Then we have one that goes to Vanessa here. Now, something that is important to note is that Vanessa, in absolutely no point in any of the trailers, images, or things that we'll be looking at today, is she ever in a cop uniform. So maybe she's taken a leave of absence from being a cop with her duties. Maybe she just decided to go in a different direction with her life. Who knows? Next, we have this amazing shot of Balloon Boy. Now, what's very important to note here, there's actually two things. Number one, his eyes glow bright blue. And this, to me, kind of seems like something that would either disorientate the person he's looking at, so the security guard, Mike in this case, or this could be part of their advanced AI with their facial recognition software, because we know from the FNAF 2 game that all the toy animatronics were built in with a very advanced security system. Now, the other thing to point out is we're actually in the FNAF 2 office from the movie. You can tell by the assortment of TV screens down in the bottom right corner, similar to the office in the FNAF 2 game, and also by the large vent to the right. Now, this vent, if we look at the layout here, this is actually the vent that Toy Bonnie usually comes through when you're playing the game, and you can kind of see on the left here that there is a large hallway. Now that, again, would be the same hallway from the FNAF 2 office. And then we end off with this amazing shot at FazFest and also Toy Freddy. This looks amazing, but there are a lot of details to point out here. We can see someone dressing up as Bonnie, Chica. This one could be either Chica or Freddy. We also have Foxy down in the back, but this version of Foxy, very interesting, is damaged. This is a damaged version of Foxy. Now, another thing to point out is that Toy Freddy's eyes here are very similar to the FNAF 1 animatronic's eyes, where he is activated but not hostile, because we saw in the other frames of this teaser trailer, and we'll see in the other trailers as well, that when the animatronics are hostile or potentially being controlled, their eyes turn red. But that is it for the official teaser trailer. Now let's jump into the first ever Five Nights at Freddy's 2 trailer that we actually got. So here we go. We have what we're starting out with is the Ghost Hunting Paranormal Group's van. Something to actually take a look here is this place has been abandoned for years. So they have parked in what seems to be the parking lot. You have one of the parking lot lamps here that is overgrown significantly. It's amazing that they even still have electricity out here, and it is just significantly overgrown. So this place has been abandoned for quite some time. McKenna Grace's character is saying that this specific version of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza with the toy animatronics is the original location. Now again, this does not mean that it is the original location in the games, because we know that that's false. There's so many reasons why that's incorrect, but in the movie universe, this is actually really interesting. So the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 location was the original one before they franchised out to the other Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, where you have the normal versions of Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy. So this is the original, and you can kind of see very beautiful. You have them walking over a bridge here that is going over kind of a canal within the pizzeria, which is really cool. You also see our first glimpse at the carousel off in the corner. And here we go. So we have that same bridge that we saw them come in on. Now there's a lot to take in here. This canal, I guess it would be used for kids going on a boat, kind of like another attraction that goes around the whole pizzeria, which is really cool. We can also see that it is kind of a cave aesthetic, which is very interesting, but it is covered with tiny puppet dolls. So the marionette is very present here. I don't know if these dolls are gonna maybe come to life or anything, but they're just very creepy. Like, why would you just have a cave filled with these tiny dolls when you have a broad range of other characters you can also fill in here for the kids' enjoyment? So it's just very weird, very interesting.
Girl got murdered here.
And again, we get context saying that a little girl got murdered there. So again, not 5 children, not 10, a single child got murdered at this specific location. Now, it's also important to note here that look at all the gears and mechanisms in this location. There's a lot. And when she gets closer to it, they start to turn. And as they turn, the box opens up. And that leads to McKenna Grace's character seemingly to be, unfortunately, killed off by the puppet. And here we go. So we see Abby and how she's coping with the aftermath of FNAF 1. And from what it seems like, she has taken a huge interest in robotics, and specifically how animatronics work. Like, look at this, fully rebuilt a mini version of Chica. It looks like she's learning how to rebuild the animatronics, which could tie into her saying that I need to go fix my friends. Now, this is very interesting. This shot specifically, you have toy Chica here missing her beak. And if you look to where my head was, you can kind of see that that is toy Bonnie. Where on earth did she find these characters? Because she obviously had to have seen them to draw them.
This story that you're gonna fix those animatronics, it's only giving her false hope.
So right there, very interesting. What I want to point out is Vanessa saying that Mike told Abby that he is going to fix her friends, fix the animatronics. Now, obviously, Mike probably just said that to make sure Abby doesn't go back to the location on her own. But another thing I want to point out here is the house that they are in. It looks a lot nicer. You have, you know, nice trim, you have wallpaper. This is an entirely different house from the one they were in FNAF 1, further supplying evidence for Mike having a more stable job and providing a more stable life for himself and Abby. We also see the Fast Talker here come to life,
Abby,
and it knows her name.
help us. Come find us.
So if you remember, this is the exact same voice that we heard at the end of the FNAF 1 movie, where it was saying, "Come find me." So my main thing is, How on earth did Abby get the fast talker? Was it given to her? Did she find it? We don't know. But it gives her directions to what seems to be the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 location. And I want you to pay close attention to this spot on the stage. It's very odd for this to be here. It's almost like this is kind of a trapdoor or a hatch that opens up so something can come out from under it. Keep that in mind for later on in this trailer and the next trailer that we're going to be reacting to. And this is what I want to draw your attention to. We have Vanessa, again, not in her cop uniform, looking into the puppet's music box that we saw earlier in this trailer that McKenna Grace found. She is in the basement, and if you look above her, this is what appears to be the hole in the stage. So remember the trapdoor I was talking about a few seconds ago? This is what I believe it opens up to. So what I think happens is all the machinery and cranking in the basement actually lifts either the box or the puppet out onto the stage. And from what we can see here, this looks very familiar to the puppet's hands, seemingly looking down at Vanessa from above. Next, we have this great shot of William Afton, or Springtrap here, looking through the doors from either the kitchen or a back room, trying to lure a child. This is a fantastic shot. So Vanessa, it looks like Vanessa is in her home, possibly in her home with the puppet slowly cruising behind her. That is very creepy. And we now get a better shot of Faz Fest. Look at this. So everyone looks like they're looking up at an animatronic. We can assume that that is going to be Toy Freddy. So this is from Toy Freddy's perspective here. He is walking around. We have someone dressed up here as Bonnie, which is pretty cool. And again, someone dressing up as Foxy, but not just any Foxy. Foxy that is noticeably damaged. Again, the same version of Foxy we see in the FNAF 1 movie. This could also be Withered Foxy from the FNAF 2 movie, but it's very odd that people dressing up as these characters would dress up as the damaged versions as well. So now we get an amazing shot of Mike in the canal water with Vanessa at the top, and Balloon Boy is coming out of the water and going towards him here. Now the next frame is actually misleading because this is not Mike. This is one of the ghost hunters. Again, Balloon Boy seems to be going towards them. This could also be an entirely different animatronic because we actually don't see the propeller hat. It's just assume that's Balloon Boy because we got this frame here of him going through the water, and then it leads into this frame. Now this right here is a very interesting frame. Now if you don't know who this actress is, this is Audrey Lynn Marie. So apparently they will be playing Charlotte Emily in this movie, also known as Charlie. Now, if you don't know who that is, Charlie Emily is the daughter of Henry Emily. Now, Henry Emily was, in the games at least, theorized to be the ones that created all the animatronics. That was also part owner with Freddy Fazbear's Pizza alongside William Afton. Now, again, through the game's very confusing lore, William Afton eventually killed Henry's daughter Charlie, and Charlie's soul then went to possess the puppet. Very convoluted, very creepy, very weird, but that's what happens in the games. Next, we have this amazing clip that I'm just going to play through because I think it's awesome, and then we'll deep dive into it. So it's Mike in the FNAF 2 office.
There's no way that'll work.
Amazing. So basically he is in the FNAF 2 office fighting back against the withered animatronics. Now something that I want to point your attention to. There's a lot going on here. He looks down at what we can see here as the FNAF 1 Freddy version of a mask. Now if you don't know, in the FNAF 2 game, you're actually supposed to wear this mask if any animatronic ends up in your office. And next we get our first kind of look at withered Chica. Now this is identical to the games. Now something I do want to talk about here is that these withered animatronics, from the game's lore, it's highly theorized that these withered animatronics, once the FNAF 2 location closed down, they were repaired and turned into the FNAF 1 animatronics, because FNAF 2, the video game, actually is a prequel to FNAF 1. So here, it seems very interesting that they have the withered animatronics after the events of the FNAF 1 movie. So it's showing these as two separate entities instead of them being the same entity in two different time periods. And that is it for the first ever official trailer we got from FNAF 2. But we're not done yet because we still have the final trailer and some bonus images to do a deep dive into. Now again, this is the same trailer that I already reacted to and did a deep dive into. So if you haven't checked it out, don't worry, because we're going to be doing the exact same thing right here, right now. I have more insight into what actually took place in that trailer that we're going to get into now. So again, we're opening with Vanessa in bed. Looks like she's unable to sleep. Again, having night terrors, bad dreams, stuff like that about her father, William Afton. And here we go. This is amazing. William Afton, what is assumed to be, looks like his leg here, and it looks like he's wearing some kind of apron or a carpenter kind of clothing. Stepping into his workshop, Vanessa is hiding in there, and we can kind of see the dust of what looks to be Freddy's eyeballs. Now the reason why I would say Freddy is because he does have bright blue eyes and also kind of brown eyelids. Here we go. So again, this leads into some schematics. Version 3.0. So if we go through the timeline here, we have a location that opened in the 1980s, right? That had Freddy Fazbear, Chica, Bonnie, and Foxy. And then it was closed down, right? This is in the game's lore. And that could have been version 1.0. And then the FNAF 2 location opens up, right? With the toy animatronics, with Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, and Toy Foxy, also known as Mangle. And that could have been version 2.0. Now, we're version 3.0, where the withered animatronics, which were the 1.0 versions, were again repaired and turned into the version 3.0s. But again, we don't really know the actual Faz facts when it comes to the movies, because it seems to be set in its own timeline, its own storyline, its own everything, which is still really cool. So we see Vanessa here in her apartment or building, but she is pulling out what seems to be a box. Now, when it comes to FNAF and boxes, don't even get the community started, but yes, she pulls out a box that's full of relics from her past. We can see here she's closing blinds to make everything dark. She's turning on static on a TV to make white noise. Now it's very interesting because Mike actually did something similar where he would listen to some kind of white noise, nature background, while staring at a picture of Nebraska to revisit his past to kind of figure out what happened to his younger brother. Now it looks like Vanessa's doing the same dream theory technique where she's digging up relics from her past. She's trying to put her head in the space of like, okay, let me go back to the past, deal with my demons, and see if I can move forward. Something really cool, another relic that she put on here is the plane. This is the exact same plane that Garrett was playing with in the FNAF 1 movie.
Everyone called it an accident, but it wasn't until years later when those 5 children went missing.
Alright, so everyone called it an accident, but it wasn't until years later until those 5 children went missing. Now this is by far the biggest reveal and the biggest takeaway we can grab from this official trailer. Now I'm gonna do a deep dive into this. Ready? So first things first, up here we have an image of the FNAF 2 pizzeria. Again, this is the bridge that goes over that canal. This is the carousel here, and this is just a normal picture. We have images of, again, the actress who plays Charlie, Emily, or Charlotte, wearing a black and white striped shirt. Now again, we have a note here that says, Daddy, I am so sorry you missed my birthday, but I really love my presents. This, I believe, is Skeet Ulrich. Now that may be familiar because he was actually one of the main people in the original Scream with Matthew Lillard. So the two of them again came back, reunited to do the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie, which is amazing. Now with that said, it is unclear what character he is playing, but from what we can establish, with the letter saying Dad, and this being Charlotte Emily, we can say that this is most likely Henry Emily, also known as William Afton's business partner in the games. So it is unclear whether that is the same in the movies or not, but here he is in the flesh. So he knows that his daughter was murdered by William Afton. Now this here is very important. There's a newspaper talking about the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza grand opening. Now it's important to note here, it does not say grand reopening. In the FNAF 2 games, it says it was a grand reopening with the toy animatronics, whereas this was the original grand opening of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Now this one here, William Afton's Early Ambitions, confirms that he was the creator and maker of the original animatronic characters. You can kind of see him here, young Matthew Lillard in what looks to be a workshop apron, which again could tie back into the flashback that Vanessa was having with her bad dreams. And it's important to note that they say that William Afton is a innovative businessman. So again, you can kind of take this in two different ways. William Afton could have made everything. He could have done the animatronics. He was a very smart businessman. He could have made the location and then franchised it out. He could have done all that. Or he and Henry Emily came together to make this magical place, and they had a falling out. Maybe, I don't know, over the death of someone's daughter. Just a theory. Next, we have, again, Charlotte Emily screaming here, holding what appears to be a kid. This kid is actually the same kid we saw getting lured into the kitchen. So this is the same child that almost got lured and killed by William Afton, and it looks like Charlie actually saved him. Now again, something very interesting to note, look at what Charlie is wearing. Black shirt with black and white stripes, very similar to the puppet. So again, this is kind of solidifying the fact that if she does get killed by William Afton, which seems pretty likely, she actually goes on to possess the puppet, which would make sense. And if you actually look, again, she is on that trap door on the stage where the puppet seemingly comes out from. So again, symbolism here, very interesting stuff. And this is amazing.
Where are you gonna run to?
Now again, saying, where are you gonna run to? That voice there, it's very interesting because in the previous trailer, it was very hard to detect who that is. Now, with it being said here,
where are you gonna run to?
It does sound like a very young William Afton. And we have the withered animatronics. Now again, this is visibly different from the animatronic characters we saw in FNAF 1, which again leads me to believe that these are two separate entities in the movie universe, whereas in the games they were the same animatronic, just one was repaired and remodeled after the FNAF 2 location closed. Like, look how creepy Chica is. Absolutely terrifying, but you can see that they're all activating in the parts and service room from all the boxes here on the shelf, and they're all slumped similar to how they are in the FNAF 2 security camera. If you actually look in the back room, you see them all kind of laying on the floor up against walls.
What do they want with my sister?
So right there, Mike says, what do they want with my sister? And if you see, Abby is visibly terrified of one of the toy animatronics in her room. Again, in my last video, I said that if you actually take this image and look at it, this seems to be a animatronic's arm, and it seems to be a yellow one. So I think this is Toy Chica in Abby's room. And then we get another view here of Freddy, Toy Freddy, again with red eyes. So he is in a hostile mode in someone's house. You can see by the phone here, some keys, doorway with wallpaper. Again with the wallpaper, I think this may be Mike and Abby's house. Also, something important to note that a lot of people missed, this is Mike. Mike is hiding behind something. Away from Toy Freddy, we see withered Chica here. This actually kind of looks like coming down the hallway of the FNAF 2 office, or coming into it, but she is coming down, and withered Freddy is behind her, staying stationary. Also, it looks like this is actually Balloon Boy's head on the ground, so I don't know if Mike just poof, you know, Balloon Boy right in the face or what happened, but that is Balloon Boy's head on the ground. So from Scott himself on Twitter, he released 4 new images of the behind the scenes. So we're gonna look at all of them here. So this again is Charlie Emily in the black and white shirt that we saw in the last trailer, where she was screaming and assumed to have saved someone from William Afton. She sees something very odd, very strange. Maybe she's gonna go investigate it. Now the next image we have here is very creepy. So this is a behind the scenes image of the actual filming set, and you can see on the screen here they're editing a scene where you can see 2 glowing eyes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to brighten this image up because it's very disturbing. Alright, so you can kind of see that there is a very very creepy face here. It's hard to tell what this is. Kind of looks like the puppet, but not really. Now the next image we do have is a very clear image of the FNAF 2 office with Balloon Boy, and we also have Mike here. Now it looks like Mike is trying to do something on the computer where it says access denied. Balloon Boy's in the office doing something to irritate Mike. Now we know from the games that Balloon Boy, when he gets into your office, he actually takes away your flashlight batteries and basically makes it so you can't flash any lights whatsoever, which is detrimental because some of the animatronics require you to use a flashlight so you don't die. So it's very annoying. Now in the movie, it looks like what they did is just made Balloon Boy the most annoying character, probably makes some high-pitched noise to disorientate the security guard, maybe flashes them with his eyes to kind of like blind them. Just very annoying. And then yeah, access denied. So maybe he's trying to get into the computer to possibly stop the toy animatronics from doing something. And then the last one here is, again, Charlotte Emily, that we can tell from her sleeves, holding a music box. Now again, this ties into the fact that in the FNAF 2 games, in order to make sure the puppet doesn't attack you, you have to keep a music box wound, so it's playing a song that calms the puppet so the puppet doesn't, you know, wake up and go to attack you. So this could again solidify the fact that Charlotte Emily will become the puppet and is tied to the music box. Like, it's just, the symbolism's crazy. Again, we're getting slapped with bricks here over the fact that this is what's going to happen in the movie. Anyway, I will see you in whatever Five Nights at Freddy's content you find me in next. Goodbye.